You know that soft, fluffy dough that you use for things like brioche or challah? That's enriched dough. It includes things like butter, eggs, and milk. It's a little bit different from bread dough, but if you can learn how to master it, you're gonna feel like a rock star. So this weekend's project is gibassiers. You may not have heard of these. They originated in Provence. It is an olive oil based brioche dough. It has aniseed, candied orange, and orange peel. They're delicious. They are such a soft, lovely bread. It's almost like the most elevated donut you'll ever have, but they are a really unique shape. They're beautiful, they're floral, they're amazing. So first we're gonna whisk together our wet ingredients. I've got some milk, olive oil, an egg and an egg yolk, orange blossom water. And you're wondering, what is that? It's the essence of orange flowers, so it gives us this really kind of light, lovely orange floral flavor. And then we're gonna add some orange zest to that and whisk it all together. So then we're gonna mix together our dry ingredients. We have bread flour, we have some sugar, some yeast, and a little bit of salt. So first we're going to combine these. And then we're going to slowly drizzle in our wet ingredients. You might want to help that along a little bit with a spatula. Okay, so you can see that all of the flour is mixed in here, and we've kind of got like a craggly dough. We're going to let this go for about 6 minutes to really develop that gluten before we add our butter. So you can see it's starting to pull away from towards the bottom of the bowl. So I think we're pretty good here. You want to make sure you do that 6 or 7 minutes because you really want to get this gluten going. If you don't, the eggs, the oil, the butter, all of that stuff is going to weigh the dough down and it won't rise all the way. So now I'm going to turn this down a little and start adding my butter. I'm going to add that a little bit at a time. You want to get that to incorporate as much as you can as you add it. If it doesn't completely incorporate after each addition, it's okay. Eventually you'll get there because you're going to beat this again for like another 8 minutes to make sure all of that is incorporated as well. So it will have some time to get in there. Okay, all of our butter's in. I'm going to scrape the bowl a few times while this is mixing, but this is again going to mix for about 8 to 10 minutes. We want it to be nice and shiny. It's going to create a rope. The last thing I'm going to do is add our special ingredients, crushed aniseed. And then this is optional. I really love this if you can find it. It's a great thing to add. It's chopped candied orange. And add a little bit of that. So we're going to get those nice little pops of orange in our bread. So I'm just going to let that go for a couple of minutes to incorporate those ingredients. So now that we've got all of our aniseed and our candied orange incorporated, I'm going to take that off the dough hook. I'm going to push everything to the center of the bowl. I want to cover this with plastic wrap. You want to leave it out at room temperature for about 45 minutes to get that yeast activated, and then you have to refrigerate it for about 8 hours. So I would say just put it in your fridge overnight. We had one ready. So you can see it rose a little bit while it was in the fridge. So I'm going to put this on my board. So I'm just going to flour my board a little bit. What I want to do here is I'm just going to roll this into a log that's about 3.5 inches wide. What I do usually, I kind of want to make sure it's about 1 foot long. This makes 12 gibassiers, so I want to cut about 1 inch of dough, and that'll usually get me there. So you can use a knife or a bench scraper. I'm just going to use a bench scraper. What I usually do is cut it in half and then half again and then divide those pieces into thirds. Cutting them like that, you'll have pretty much 12 even pieces. If you really want to weigh each piece, you can do that too. They're about 2 ounces each, a little bit more. 2 1/4-ish. So I'm going to roll these into kind of cigar shapes that are about 3.5 to 4 inches long. So just roll them on the counter. If they're a little bit longer, you can just press them together. We're going to cut them so they don't have to be exact. Okay, so all of our little logs are rolled. These breads have kind of a distinct shape. what I read is that they're trying to mimic the fleur-de-lis, which is kind of the symbol of France. And the way that they do that is you want to take one of your little logs, using a really sharp paring knife, cut through the center, but not all the way through. So we're going to do a slit in the center and another one evenly on each side. Then, in between each one of those, you're going to cut halfway through, right through the end of the dough. I know this seems confusing, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. And then you're going to fold it inward. Bend it. Now we're going to cover our first pan with a dish towel. And we're going to let those rise for about an hour, hour and a half. Okay, so it's been about an hour. Our first tray is ready to go. Woo! Look at these. Aren't they pretty? So these have doubled in size. When you press them, it's going to hold an indent for a minute and then kind of spring back. So these are ready to go in the oven. We bake them one tray at a time. I found that baking 2 trays at a time and trying to switch them meant that they didn't rise all the way. So they're going to go in a 350-degree oven for 15 to 18 minutes until they're puffed and golden brown. So the first batch is out. I wish you could smell these. You can smell the orange and the aniseed. It's just amazing. So we're going to let these cool a little bit, and then we have to add the final flourish, which is a brush of butter and a little dip in sugar. So I'm going to let these cool a little bit so I can handle them, and then we're going to do that while the other ones are in the oven. So these have cooled a little bit. You've got 2 options here. You can pick it up with your hand. They are still pretty hot. Or maybe use some tongs. So what you want to do is brush the top with butter. I'm just going to leave them right on the pan here. Drop them into some sugar. I love things coated in sugar. I always get the morning bun. I always get anything that looks like that. So here they are. Just want to show you how soft and fluffy those are. And then you've got the sugar on the outside. These smell amazing, the anise and the orange. A little bit of that orange blossom water gives it a really kind of floral scent. These are hands down one of my favorite recipes from our baking book, and it is a little bit of a project, but it is so, so worth it. They're so orangey, and there's like that floral anise and orange blossom water, chunks of the candied orange. I love, love, love these. These are one of my favorite recipes in this book. So if you want more delicious and unique recipes like this, pick up our book, Mill Street Bakes.